Let's go for a little ride.
Yeah, that's right. We're doing the Fast and the Furious movies this week. And if that somehow disturbs your sense of integrity as a film lover, nay, film scholar, take some advice from the people who made these movies and don't think about it too much.
Dude, I almost had you.
Relax and just try to have a good time, all while your brain dies a little. Here are 7 things you didn't know about the Fast and the Furious. Probably. We've got to make our first thing about the first movie, right? In fact, I'm going to go one better. I'm going to make thing number 1 about the very beginning of the very first Fast and Furious movie. Most people don't know that they hijacked this whole hijacking sequence. They stole it from John Ford's Stagecoach. In this case, the 18-wheeler is the Stagecoach and the Honda Civics are the horses. Finally, they echoed the runaway horses in Stagecoach with the highway construction in the Fast and the Furious. We're only one thing in and we already dropped a John Ford knowledge bomb on your asses. All you snobs who thought this whole episode was going to be nothing but fast cars and tasty hoots can suck it. Tasty hoots and fast cars are at least 2 or 3 more things away. Maybe 4. But it's definitely 2 or 3. Let's talk about fast cars and tasty hoots. Actually, just fast cars for this one. Obviously, there's a whole mess of stunt guys and professional drivers doing the stuff in these movies like this. Or this. That was a real crash, by the way, and it was not supposed to happen. Anyway, in Too Fast, Too Furious, the late Paul Walker successfully pulled off this skid for real with no special effects. And he hit his mark in everything. Plus, Walker also pulled off this 180 on the freeway. No stunt guy. Sure, it was a nightmare getting insurance for Walker to do the stunts, but hey, he nailed them.
Damn right, man, he like them apples! Show off!
For our third thing, we're jumping ahead to Fast and Furious. While it's the 4th film in terms of release order, Fast and Furious is the 3rd in terms of story chronology. Anyway, the church they used in this scene here was funded by real-life drug dealers. It was never finished because people kept dying during construction. It's widely accepted that this place is cursed because, well, I guess the Lord didn't want anything to do with drug dealers and their blood money. Director Justin Lin was happy to get the hell out of there as fast as possible because the place wasn't structurally sound. And, the place being cursed wasn't that awesome to deal with either. The one good thing about shooting there was they found an orphaned puppy behind the church. He was only about 5 inches big at the time, but Lynn adopted him and he grew up to be a big, healthy, crazy dog. We couldn't find a picture of the actual dog he found, but hey, this dog's pretty cute, right? Next thing.
Help me.
It's for my team, you son of a bitch.
Let's move on to Fast 5. And since this is the one where they added The Rock to the franchise, finally, because obviously these movies needed The Rock, let's make it about him. Actually, let's make it about the guy who actually got blown up in that shot. Because it wasn't The Rock. The guy getting exploded is Tunaway Reed, The Rock's stunt double and cousin. He got pretty close to the explosion for this shot, safety precautions or not, that's pretty badass. In fact, he's such a badass that he doubles for his cousin, The Rock, all the time. Seriously, check out his IMDb. Ha! Baywatch Nights. There's your tasty hoots.
The label says no driving and no brain surgery tonight.
Moving on. Hey, so you know how the Fast and Furious 6 was unusually long at 2 hours and 11 minutes? Especially for a movie where they probably didn't bother to write a script.
Ride or die.
Ride or die.
Well, that's because it was supposed to be 2 movies. Justin Lin intended for the story to be split into the final 2 chapters of the franchise. He wanted to call the 6th one The Fast, and the 7th and final film was supposed to be called The Furious. The decision was made to cram everything into one film instead, which they marketed as Fast and Furious 6. However, the official title of the film is still Furious 6, at least as far as Justin Lin is concerned. The mashing together of the 2 movies does explain why there are 2 massive sequences basically back-to-back toward the end. This part with the tank was meant to be the end of movie 6, The Fast, and then this plane sequence was going to be the end of The Furious. Although, and this is a bonus thing you didn't know by the way, the plane sequence had been on Lin's mind since he was working on the 5th installment. He talked about putting it at the end of that film, but the technology just wasn't ready yet. He wouldn't have been able to accomplish it and have it look the way he wanted to back when he was making Fast 5. Which is, of course, the old James Cameron defense. Well played, Justin Lin. Well f***ing played.
Hey, you talking to my girl?
Well, she was just admiring my ride.
See, now we can do a thing about Tokyo Drift. In the interest of keeping the movie spoiler-free for you guys, we won't explain why Tokyo Drift clearly comes after the 6th movie. But if you've seen all the films, you already know. What you may not know is the real-life king of drift is in the movie, and he's right there. His name is Keiichi Tsuchiya, and I'm sure I just butchered that. The point is, he's a legendary drift racer, and he's not only in the movie for this cameo. He's the one driving this tandem drift scene on the mountain road. Basically, it was super dangerous, and they needed someone as skilled as he is to help them out with the driving. In fact, the only struggle Keiichi had with the filming was making his driving look sloppy enough. For this particular scene, the driving is supposed to be messy. Well, Keiichi was just too good at drifting and too in control of the car, which was making the driving look far more professional than it was supposed to. I can't say that my boss has ever said anything about me doing my job too well, but I'm sure that's just an oversight.
Just when you didn't think it could get any better, huh?
Here we go.
All right, you know what this is. It's our seventh thing and our final thing, so it's our thing about the seventh and final movie in the Fast and Furious saga. Except it may not be the final movie because fool me once, shame on you, but fool me 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times and you've got a franchise that's pretty much a license to print money. So yeah, they're gonna make 3 more, I'm sure. Anyway, what you may not know is Furious 7 is the first movie in the franchise that does in fact take place after the events of Tokyo Drift. So in a way, this is technically the first movie in the series that isn't a flashback since 2006. It's also the first movie in the series not directed by Justin Lin since John Singleton's Too Fast, Too Furious from 2003. And Furious 7 is the first one since Too Fast not to feature Sung Kang as Han. By the way, this Han is actually the same Han from Better Luck Tomorrow, Justin Lin's 2002 indie film that put him on the map.
The ladies ready?
Since Han chain smokes in Better Luck Tomorrow and they couldn't have him do that in the PG-13 Fast and Furious movies, they just made him a constant snacker instead. Boom! Bonus snack time thing you didn't know. Well, we made it through 7 things and with minimal mention of all the hot cans in these movies. Hot cans, tasty hoots. They're all the same to me. But if you guys like this, then hit us up for a part 2. There's 7 of these movies, so we easily have enough things to do this again. And again. And again. And we can also go ahead and announce that we're going to do a trilogy, because that's what you do. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Cinefix.com and subscribe for more true-ish things about movies and sometimes cars and boobs right here on Things You Didn't Know.